Hello guys, very good afternoon. So in yesterday's class we discussed about overview of testing. So in today's class we will discuss more about the manual testing concept because in a last class as I mentioned first of all we will discuss about software testing. So in software testing, first the person should be more aware about the manual testing concept basically. So in this series, we will first more discuss about the manual testing concepts. Okay, so in manual testing concept, basically two to three concept already we have discussed in our last class, like what is software quality and why do we need the testing. But in today's session, we will discuss more about SDLC and more about waterfall model and spiral model, V model. So these we will discuss about those models, and then later on what is the static testing, what is dynamic testing, what is verification and validations, what is white box testing, what is the black box testing method and all. So we will discuss one by one in this manual testing series. So now today very important topic like we will discuss, which is SDLC. So SDLC stands for software development life cycle. So in SDLC, basically these are the six phases which are involved in that software development life cycle. First is the requirement, second is design, third is implementation, fourth is test, fifth is installation, sixth is maintenance. So these steps need to follow by while developing any kind of product by the team basically. So in that the first stage is requirement. So first of all we need to gather the requirement, that our stakeholders actually provide the requirement about you can say FSD, functional specification document. So once we gather those requirement, yeah, development team gather that requirement from stakeholders. So based on that actually that technical architect and senior technical product manager and project manager and all, they will sit together and they will prepare basically the high level design document and low level design document. And what exactly in that high level design document I will show you later actually in class, later class. So how that high level design document look like. But in that I just want to give you brief, high level design in the sense they will mention all the tool and all the technology and all what kind of databases and what is the database designs and what kind of model they are using. So everything basically they will mention in that high level design document. And that the same document, same high level design document will be shared with the testing team as well. So testing team also should be on a same page while they will start their testing basically. So and if the testing team always ask, like before starting that testing now, to the development team, like please share the high level design document. So once that high level design documents are completed by technical product manager and technical architect and project manager, then after that the implementation part will start. In implementation part, the development team will start the coding basically of the requirement of high level design. Okay, then once that development part is done by the development team, then after that unit testing will be done by the development team. They will do the unit testing of all the module, like functionalities are working fine or not. With respect to this testing part, the testing team will also start that SDLC process, software testing life cycle process. So in that they will thoroughly end to end they will do the testing of this product basically, and which will include the different kind of testing methodology and testing techniques. So that we will discuss in all later classes. So once the testing is done, then after that the particular software will be installed on a client environment or on a client machine. So once that is installed, then after that maintenance and production support, or you can say production development support, provided by the production support team to that particular software actually. So all these are the six phases that we consider or that we involve in that SDLC process, software development life cycle. In that there are basically different model like waterfall model, like spiral model, and like v-shape model. So waterfall model is nothing, it is similar to that SDLC process. Like all these 6 phases are in SDLC, and all these 6 phases are in a waterfall model as well, like requirement, design, implementation, test, installation, and maintenance. But if we are using the waterfall model, so there are some advantage and some disadvantage while using this waterfall model techniques. So I would discuss each and every step like in a detail. So like if we are using that waterfall model, so advantage are the quality of the product will be very good. Now how that quality of the product will be very good? Because first we are doing requirement and then we are doing design. So in this part we are gathering a lot of informations and we are creating a lot of big documents basically. So if we are gathering requirement in a detailed manner, then there are less chances basically to get the bug or to get the errors while designing the software. So this is the first advantage. Second is, since requirement changes are not allowed, so it is very less chances to finding the bug. Okay, so in that case the quality of the product also will be very good, and initial investment is also very less. Why? Because if you are doing requirement and design documentation preparation, so during that time there is no need of testing team or maintenance team. So there will be the less cost basically while doing the design and requirement phase actually, because there is no need of testing team in that time. So the cost will be very less. And like and this waterfall model can only be used for the small projects only. And there are some disadvantages also of waterfall model. First I have just explained you the advantage, and then now actually I am just explaining you the disadvantage of waterfall model. So first disadvantage is frequent requirement changes if are there, then we can't accommodate in a waterfall model. Let's suppose if our stakeholders are saying during our testing phase, like we want to include some more requirement we want to accommodate in our project. So if we are using waterfall model technique, then there is a no possibility, there is a no chance that we can actually include the requirement in the testing phase. So this is the very big disadvantage basically. Second is, any defect in requirement phase that will be always in a later phase also. Means like let's suppose if we have done some mistake while gathering the requirements, and if there is any bug or any kind of error while gathering the requirements, so that error will be the part of design part, will be the part of implementation part, or will be the part of testing part. So that issue will persist while doing the testing also. So if we are unable to solve that particular defect or issue while the requirement phase itself, then there that issue will persist while implementation or while maintenance also. So this is a very big disadvantage. And total investment is also very high. Total investment, like if we want to change the requirement, then again we need to follow the same process, again we need to gather the requirement, again need to do the design. So it is taking the high cost basically. In that sense basically it is taking high cost, because if defect is there and you are finding that defect while doing the testing, then again you need to start the requirement, then again design, then again implementation, then again test. And let's suppose again we have the defect, then again we need to follow the same process. So the same process we are following couple of times, so it is taking our time and cost, everything. So that's what in that scenarios it is very cost is very high actually. And next is testing process always start once coding is completed. So this is also a disadvantage, like in implementation part, development is team is doing the coding, so during the time testing team is just not doing anything actually, so they are just idle actually. So testing team will start the testing once implementation, once coding is done, once deployment is done and sign off email is shared by the development team, then only the testing team will start the testing. So till that time they will be idle, they will not do the test execution, they will just do the requirement gathering, and even they can start the writing of test cases, but they will not be full-fledged involved in testing until or unless the implementation or coding part is completed. So this is all about the waterfall model. So this is actually the traditional model. Nowadays we are not using, in most of the cases, waterfall model. We are using agile methodology actually. Waterfall model actually used for a small projects, and it is like that already mentioned, like it is more cost involved in that. If we are not very sure at our requirement phase, then I'm telling you, like this cycle will repeat multiple times, so it will involve the cost. So better, like nowadays everyone is moving at agile methodology, so that is the best approach nowadays the people are following. So this is all about the waterfall model which I mentioned today. So we will discuss more about the different models in a later classes. So like in a next class, like a spiral model or agile methodologies we will discuss. So I hope like you understand what I explained today about the waterfall model. So if you guys have any kind of question or any queries, just please actually drop me message, so I can check and I can give the answer actually. So thank you so much, thank you so much for actually everyone for this session, and we will meet again, and in the next session.